A hospital gives its doctors a new, sophisticated dashboard. It tracks every patient metric in real time. Within a year, patient outcomes get worse. This is the paradox of modern data. More information should mean better control. Today, we're going to see why the opposite is often true. Forget the dashboard, follow the incentives. Let's find the breakdown in the system. Chapter 1, The Promise and the Plumbing. We live in the age of measurement. From your daily step count to a nation's economic health, we believe that if we can track it, we can manage it. This belief is the engine behind trillion-dollar industries in business intelligence and analytics. The promise is simple. Reduce uncertainty, eliminate gut feelings, and make optimal, evidence-based decisions. The mechanism seems logical. You install sensors, gather data points, run algorithms, and get a dashboard. Green means good, red means bad. The system appears to give you a god's-eye view, transforming a complex, messy reality into clean, actionable metrics. This is the illusion of control, the feeling that because you're watching the dials, you are commanding the machine. But here's the first crack in the facade. Data is not reality, it's a filtered, simplified model. Every metric is a choice. What you choose to measure immediately begins to distort what you see. We'll call this measurement selection bias. You can't track everything, so you track what's easy or what's mandated. The map is not the territory, but we're increasingly asked to navigate by the map alone. And this is where the incentive problem begins. If a manager's bonus depends on moving 3 numbers from red to green, what do you think he'll focus on? He won't be managing the underlying system, the health of the company, or the quality of the product. He'll be managing the representation of the system on the dashboard. The real shocker is that this isn't cheating. It's the rational response to the incentives you built. So if metrics are so easily gamed, why do we keep adding more of them? The answer lies in a dangerous feedback loop we're about to unpack. Chapter 2. The Signal and the Noise Factory. When a system starts producing bad outcomes, the intuitive response is to demand more data. The thinking goes, we didn't see the problem coming because we were missing a key indicator. So you add more metrics, more reports, more alerts. You've just fallen into the noise factory. There's a mathematical reality here. As you increase the number of metrics you monitor, you dramatically increase the number of false signals. Imagine you have 20 independent metrics on your dashboard, each with a 95% confidence level. The math says there's a 64% chance that at least one of them will show a false alarm, a red light where there's no real problem. With 50 metrics, that chance rises to over 92%. Your dashboard isn't clarifying reality, it's becoming a slot machine that's almost guaranteed to light up with distracting, meaningless alarms. This creates a crisis of attention. Human cognition has a severe bottleneck. We cannot process 50 flashing lights. So what happens? Operators experience data overload. They either become paralyzed, ignoring all alerts, that's alert fatigue, or they engage in frantic, reactive whack-a-mole, chasing the loudest signal without understanding the root cause. The system that was meant to create calm, informed control instead generates stress and chaotic intervention. And here's where the second-order effect kicks in. Each frantic data-triggered intervention introduces new variables into the system. You're not just observing anymore, you're poking the machine. This makes the system's behavior even harder to predict and the data even noisier, which justifies, you guessed it, collecting even more data. The loop is now closed. More data creates more noise, which prompts more interventions, which creates the need for more data. You're not solving problems, you're feeding them, but this spiral has a final devastating cost. It doesn't just waste time, it actively destroys the very thing you need to make good decisions. Chapter 3. The Death of Context and the Rise of the Metric. To understand the terminal stage, we need to distinguish between 2 types of knowledge: explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is what can be written down, codified, and put in a spreadsheet. It's the data. Tacit knowledge is the deep, practical understanding that comes from experience. It's the seasoned doctor who can't explain exactly why a patient looks sick, or the veteran engineer who hears a subtle change in a machine's hum. This knowledge is held in intuition and pattern recognition. The relentless push for data-driven decision-making systematically devalues tacit knowledge. If it can't be measured, it doesn't count. The veteran's gut feeling is overruled by the junior analyst's dashboard. Over time, this has a corrosive effect. People stop developing and trusting their tacit knowledge. Why bother honing your judgment if the algorithm will tell you what to do? The organization loses its institutional memory and its capacity for nuanced judgment. This creates a perfect environment for a perverse incentive. The system now rewards people for optimizing for the metric, not for the real-world outcome. Classic examples are everywhere: teachers teaching to the test, police departments focusing on easy arrests to boost stats, or social media companies optimizing for engagement at the cost of societal cohesion. In each case, the metric becomes the goal, and the original purpose, education, safety, connection, is forgotten. The illusion is now complete. You have a dashboard full of green lights, and you feel in total control. But beneath the surface, the real system, the one that depends on human judgment and understanding of context, has atrophied. You are flying a plane by watching a dozen dials, but you've forgotten how to feel the wind or look out the window, and you've fired the co-pilot who still could. This leaves us with a critical question. If more data isn't the answer, what is? How do we build systems that actually improve decisions? Chapter 4: The Data-Informed Alternative. The solution isn't to throw out data. It's to change our relationship with it. This requires a shift from being data-driven to being data-informed. First, practice metric frugality. Ruthlessly limit your key performance indicators. Ask, what is the minimum number of signals we need to know if the core system is healthy? More is not better. Better is better. Each new metric must justify its existence by proving it reduces more noise than it creates. Second, protect tacit knowledge. Create formal ways for experiential knowledge to challenge the data. Institute red team sessions where veterans are tasked with explaining why the dashboard might be wrong. Reward people for spotting discrepancies between the metrics and reality, not just for making the numbers green. Third, analyze incentives, not just outcomes. Before you create a new KPI, conduct an incentive audit. Ask, if my pay depended on making this number look good, what's the easiest way to do it without actually improving the real-world outcome? If the answer is game the system, you have a bad metric. Finally, embrace leading indicators, not just lagging ones. Most data tells you what already happened. That's a lagging indicator. Focus on finding a few hard-to-game leading indicators that predict health or failure. In a hospital, instead of just tracking mortality rates, track nurse-to-patient ratios and staff burnout surveys. These are harder to fake and give you time to act. The goal is to use data as a compass, not an autopilot. A compass gives you orientation within a vast, complex landscape. An autopilot, when it fails, flies you straight into a mountain while all the dials smile green. The real control comes from understanding the terrain, trusting your sense of direction, and knowing when to look up from the instrument panel. We've built a world where the instrument panel is constantly expanding, but the most critical system, the one making the decisions, still has a human brain at its center, a brain that evolved to understand context, not just data streams. The unresolved exposure isn't in our servers, it's in our willingness to forget that. What's one metric in your life or work that you blindly trust but might be leading you astray? If you want to follow systems as they face these irreversible pressures, follow and subscribe to the channel.